We're here today because we have filed charges against the state of New York. We have filed charges against Kathy Hochul. We have filed charges against Letitia James and Mark Schroeder, who is with DMV. This is a new DOJ, and we are taking steps to protect Americans, American citizens, and angel moms, like the mom standing right behind me, who you're going to hear from in a moment. New York has chosen to prioritize illegal aliens over American citizens. It stops today. As you know, we sued Illinois, and New York didn't listen. So now you're next. Millions of illegal aliens with violent records have flooded into our communities, bringing violence and deadly drugs with them. With me today, I'm so proud to be joined by Tammy Nobles. Tammy is an angel mom. Her beautiful daughter, Kayla Hamilton, was murdered by an MS-13 member in 2022. Kayla had just turned 20 years old, and she was raped and murdered by someone who should not have been in our country. Yet, he was released, flown to Maryland, where he committed this violent murder. I just want you to hear from, Tammy. Tammy represents not only herself and her family, but all of the great angel moms around this country who have suffered because of what the Biden administration did, and it is over.
Thank you for having me here today and being able to share Kayla's story. Her murderer was able to come across the border knowing that he was flagged as an MS-13 gang member, and he had a criminal record in 2020 in El Salvador for illicit gang activity. He came over as an unoccupied alien child, saying that he was afraid of gang activity in his country. Health and Human Services called him a nice boy, and he showed age-appropriate behavior. That fell so wrong when he murdered my daughter. He ended up in Maryland, where he was able to rent a room in the same mobile home as her. We thought it was a legit company that were renting out these rooms, but it turned out that it was another illegal immigrant who owned these mobile homes, and he knew Walter from El Salvador. He knew him and allowed him to rent a room with my child. Kayla just turned 20 years old 3 days before she was murdered. Her murderer was only living there for 5 days before he viciously strangled her, raped her, and left her on the floor like trash and robbed her of $6. I have been sharing her story for over 2.5 years to bring change, because this should not have ever happened to Kayla, and it shouldn't be happening to other families being hurt by the border. Homeland Security did not do their jobs. They did not check his background. You know, they did say that he was processed. So if they processed him, they knew that he was a gang member and still allowed him here. Health and Human Services did not verify the sponsor and allowed him to go with a sponsor that they don't even know if it was his cousin or his aunt. And he was able to leave the sponsor's house to go live wherever he wanted. And I am going to continue sharing Kayla's story to help save others and to bring awareness of what was happening under the Biden-Harris administration. And I'm so thankful for Pam having me here today, and I'm so thankful for the opportunities I got from Trump and any other platform, people who allowed me to share her story, because this is going to end. No other parent should suffer by having their child murdered by somebody that shouldn't be here. And I'm gonna continue, sharing it, and for Kayla, and also for others. Thank you.
And it's my understanding that he also admitted to other murders, correct? Multiple murders.
He wrote a letter, and he was intercepted in jail that he committed 4 murders and 2 rapes.
And that's who we were letting walk into our country. And that's why President Trump has directed this to stop. And if you don't comply with federal law, we will hold you accountable. We did it to Illinois, strike 1. Strike 2 is New York. And if you are a state not complying with federal law, you're next, get ready. And the great men and women of law enforcement are standing behind me today. We have FBI, DEA, ATF agents. They put their lives on the line every single day to protect us. And what New York has, they have green light laws, meaning they're giving a green light to any illegal alien in New York where law enforcement officers cannot check their identity if they pull them over. Law enforcement officers do not have access to their background. And if these great men and women pull over someone and don't have access to their background, they have no idea who they're dealing with. And it puts their lives on the line every single day. Violent criminals, gang members, drug traffickers, human smugglers will no longer terrorize the American people. And that is why we are here today. You will be held accountable if you do not follow federal law. It's over, it ends, and we're coming after you. Questions?
We have time for a few questions. David Spot with Fox News.
Madam Attorney General, thank you and welcome to the Justice Department.
Thank you.
I have a quick on-topic and a quick off-topic
Sure.
question. On-topic, in your executive order, or in your orders on the first day you were here, you talked about working with the Justice Department, or these sanctuary cities, as you say, will
Yes.
be punished. Today you're putting people on notice. Right now, we're just lawsuits. Is this going to go further? What kind of punishment are we talking about? Is there any grounds to charge individuals, charge politicians? How far is this going to go?
Well, we're going to see what they do next, David. We have sued them all. We've personally sued the governor, the Attorney General, Letitia James, and Mark Schroeder with DMV because he has the green light laws. So what they have to do, they have to start complying with federal law. If they don't, we're going to appeal it, and we will win. They have to comply with federal law. Did you have a second question?
I did have a second off-topic question in this regard to the judiciary. Today, Elon Musk, who has enormous influence in the Trump administration, posted on X, quote, "There needs to be an immediate wave of judicial impeachments, not just one." As the Attorney General of the United States, how do you respond to that? Shouldn't the process work out in the courts before we talk about judicial impeachments? I mean, these are just TROs now at this time. Shouldn't these just play out?
Yeah, I haven't seen Elon Musk tweet. He is a friend of mine. He is a great man. I think he's very frustrated with what's happening in our federal government. You know, at USAID alone, they're giving out billions of dollars that should not be distributed. We're going to back him up. You know, we work our whole lives in this country, and we all pay taxes in this country. And for people to find out that $2 million is going to Guatemala for sex changes is outrageous. And we're going to back up Elon Musk every way we can. That includes lawsuits against these people who are doing that, and we will be successful.
Do you have concerns about judicial impeachments?
That's not going to happen now. We're going to look at everything. We're going to follow the law right now. We're going to follow the process. These are federal judges with lifetime appointments, but they will be struck down ultimately by the Supreme Court of the United States if the appellate courts don't follow the law as well.
Alana Richard with the AP.
Hi.
Thanks so much. I also have an on-topic and an off-topic.
Sure.
First of all, can you just briefly walk us through what the legal claims are you're making in this lawsuit?
Yeah, absolutely. So the green light laws are that, this is what the green light law says. It's a green light to illegal immigration, which says they can comply. That law is unconstitutional. They can't do that. And what they've done is they have a tip-off provision that requires New York's DMV commissioner to promptly inform any illegal alien when a federal immigration agency has requested their information. So think about the men and women in law enforcement behind me. That's basically, that's not a basic, it's tipping off an illegal alien, and it's unconstitutional. And that's why we filed this lawsuit, and that's why we charge Mark Schroeder too, because he runs DMV. Oh, I'm sorry, you had a second question.
Yeah, my off-topic question. I wanted to ask about Mayor Eric
Yes.
Adams' case. As of at least a few moments ago, SDNY still has not dropped that case. Have you or other DOJ leadership spoken to the acting U.S. Attorney and SDNY since the memo was sent earlier this week? And what will you do if she refuses to drop the case?
I have not spoken to her. I know our acting DAG, Emil Bove, has spoken to her, and Chad Mizell may have spoken to her, but that case should be dropped. It was done at the directive of Emil, so that case should be dropped. I did not know that it had not been dropped yet, but I will certainly look into that.
Reagan, Daily Caller.
Hi, how are you?
Tom Homan suggested this week that someone from within the FBI may be leaking information about the ICE raids, and that such could be putting officers' lives at risk. Has the DOJ gotten any closer to determining if these leaks are coming from within the FBI? And what will the consequences be if they can identify the leakers from the FBI?
Excuse me. Well, first, I can't talk about anything that is ongoing, and that is ongoing. And it's really for the similar reasons of what I said earlier. The great men and women in law enforcement standing behind me today, they must be protected. And anytime anyone leaks or tips off anything regarding a pending investigation, that jeopardizes lives. You're telling a bad guy what's about to happen. It could jeopardize the lives of all the men and women in law enforcement. We will not stand for it. We will find you. We're going to investigate it, no matter what agency it came from. We don't know for certain. We have an open investigation, so I can't talk about it in detail, but we will do everything in our power to hold you accountable, and it is a crime, and you will be prosecuted when we find you.
Okay, guys, time for one more. Alana Austin is next.
Hi, Madam
Hi, Alana.
Attorney General. Thank you so much for your time. I was also interested in hearing specifically what the interactions have been like with Mayor Adams. And I know he has a little bit of a different tone than some of the other Democrats out of the Empire State. And then also Denver Mayor Mike Johnston, because before the President Trump went back into office, he had issued some words about a potential standoff and then walked that back. So I was curious to see what things have been like out of New York City and Denver officials.
Yeah, well, we're hoping that in New York, Mayor Adams is going to cooperate with us, with the sanctuary cities and the illegal aliens. And has the mayor in Colorado been cooperating? Do we know? I believe he might have now. Yeah, I believe Colorado is now cooperating. That's what we want. We don't want to sue you. We don't want to prosecute people. We want people to comply with the law. This is very simple. An MS-13 member murdered her daughter. That's happening throughout this country. We have one angel mom is too many. And we have angel moms throughout this country who should not be going through this. Comply with the law. This is the last thing we want to be doing. We want to be out there, all of us, fighting violent crime. Yet we're fighting illegal aliens, and that ends, and it's going to end today.
All right, that's all we have time for, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Yeah, keep the camera. Oh man, fantastic, incredible. Offense, 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 action, action, action.